Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Saloon Podcast. I'm your host Mirage, and I'm joined by my co-host Burner as usual, or Koma, whichever name you prefer.
There's a cup and a mug, and we're talking about them today. With my poor imitation of a barbershop quartet, we're talking about the game that was in dev for a very long time and came out a massive success. That game, of course, is Cuphead.
Yep. Oh, Cuphead. Oh, there's so much to say about that game. Um, but before I start though, I'd like to say, aside from the fact that it's been in dev for quite a long time, approximately since 2010, if I recall, uh, believe it or not, I managed to discover Cuphead roughly around the same time I discovered Bendy, which was 2017, I think, 2018-ish, somewhere around there.
Around
I think it was
when the
20.
game came out, if I do
I
recall.
knew about it before it came out, actually.
Oh,
I found out about it. But I discovered Cuphead and a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, this game has been in dev for a long time. Did it get canceled or something? And then I come to realization that, oh, they're actually very close to releasing it. Wow. Okay. And then when it releases, I just lose my mind and I check Steam and it's like, it releases on my birthday. You're kidding. Yeah, it actually releases on my birthday and I lost my mind.
that's.
Um,
Whew.
I checked my Steam and it released on my birthday. And I just could not comprehend the sheer just I couldn't comprehend how insane that was, that it was on the release date of my its release date was on my birthday at all. So yeah, aside from that, let's dive into the actual game itself before I go on a tangent about how surprised I was, because I don't think there's anything left for me to talk about when it comes to that.
And what better place to start than going over this game's story? Now, it should be worth mentioning that the game is very simplistic in nature. The game is designed after an old cartoon that you would see in like the 20s or the 30s, so
Very late 20s, early 30s, somewhere
yeah.
around there, where there was no color at all and everything was drawn frame by frame, and everything was very smooth, and every character had rubber hose limbs, hence the term rubber hose.
Yeah, but
So
we'll pay more lip service to the aesthetic in just a little
in
bit.
due time,
Yeah, but
in due time.
in terms of the story itself, though, one day two little rugrats named Cuphead and Mugman find themselves wandering around, and then until they arrive at the Devil's Casino. Eventually, Cuphead deciding, like, you know what, we're gonna start, betting off everything, and then the Devil comes in and he's like, yo, you want to play a game of craps, and then took your souls for everything. Cuphead loses, and then, well, Cuphead and Mugman's souls now belong to the Devil. If they
Because
want to,
they ended up getting snake eyes and stuff. So
yeah,
as a result of that, they are forced to essentially grab a bunch of contracts to compensate for the fact that they lost. And so Cuphead and Mugman end up going on a journey to get soul contracts of their friends, bosses that are presumably their friend. Actually, no, they are. I remember now. Yeah, they are their friends. So they end up going on this journey to get a bunch of soul contracts of their friends, and then hand them over to the devil himself later
that's
on.
yeah. So there you go. That's the story. It's
That's the general plot. It's about as simple as your typical Sonic the Hedgehog plot.
yeah, bad,
Very, very,
very
very,
simplistic, very simplistic.
very basic. It's like, oh hey, it's not bare bones, but it's to the point, just like anything else. So
It's supposed to represent a cartoon from the 20s and 30s. I think it does that job pretty well. But
does
aside
very
from
well.
aside from well, then after you watch the opening cutscene and then get past the tutorial that some game journalists cannot beat, we eventually find ourselves in the very first run and gun stage, and that is a pretty good segue as any to talk about the run and gun stages. So,
Yep.
y'all ever played Mega Man?
Mega Man, Contra,
There you go. You have your Cuphead run and gun stages. Get to the end of the
basically.
stages, collecting 5 golden coins, and shooting up enemies. There you go.
Yep.
That's your run and gun. It's a jump and shoot, man. Only you can
Yeah,
aim in multiple directions with multiple different weapons once you
you
unlock
can
them.
actually aim diagonally. Wow, what a concept! And you can also aim upwards and upwards. Wow, awesome.
Mega Man truly.
Mega Man, eat your heart out.
They're supposed to be from the future. These guys from the 20s and 30s, had multi-directional aiming before you did.
Yeah, but anyway, so the thing about the run and gun stages is that they are not easy, but that's the game. That's the game in general. Actually, the game itself is not easy. It's no walk in the park. You're not just gonna. You can't just go in and expect everything to be, a casual experience. It's not aimed for casual players, or it's not catered towards casual players in any way, shape, or form. It's for people who actually have had prior experiences with 2D platformers and side-scrolling shooters,
Yeah,
or shmups, anything of that sort.
yeah. So
And
that's why we would recommend you playing the game after you've played a Mega Man game or a Contra game or something similar in nature, because
but that's not to say that you can't go into it blind and haven't played any Mega Man games prior to it.
it's
That's not to
just
say that you can't do it. It's just it makes things a lot harder for most people. But if
yeah.
you manage to somehow beat it despite that, good for you.
Good job. This game is not easy.
You very good. Like if you actually manage to beat it, yeah, good for you.
Good on
But
ya.
anyways, but
So
yeah,
pretty much every run and gun stages has multiple objects to parry with your parry mechanics. So if you jump in the air, Cuphead or Mugman will extend their straw. If an object is highlighted pink, you can do a parry, and then that's very useful for not only getting past tough obstacles, but can also block certain attacks. But we'll get into that when we talk about the bosses in just a moment. But pretty much every run and gun stage is like that. You just go from beginning to end. There's 5 golden coins. You can use them in the Emporium from Pork Rind. And
oh
yeah,
yeah, and there are approximately either about five, no, 5 to 7 different types of shots that you can fire out from Cuphead's finger that you can equip. Um, Personally, my favorites are the chasers and the red one. I forgot what that was called.
yeah, the spread ones.
Yeah, the spread fire. It basically like a shotgun and a homing missile. They're really good. Only problem with the chasers is that they're really weak, but
And
their range is incredible, and you don't have to aim. You can just fire, just go crazy and just fire it wherever you want to, and it'll lock onto the enemy on the screen for you. That's
this,
the beauty of using the chasers. As for the spread shot, though, the spread shot is like the complete opposite. You still have to aim, but it can only go so far, so you have to get really close with it. That's the drawback to using the spread fire. So you gotta be
but it's
careful.
way more powerful than the chaser gun or even your standard pea shooter.
But thankfully, though, that's not all. You can actually have 2 different types of shots equipped, so you can actually have both of them equipped at the same time.
Yeah,
And
so
it's actually a really good combination, too.
my
They actually encourage you to mix and match different shots
yeah,
as well.
and it doesn't mean that and it means that your standard pea shooter is useful in a variety of situations because it's just the most standard shooter. Granted, I don't really use it a whole lot. My
The
main
pea shooter is essentially what most people would consider the jack of all trades, if you will. You can use it for any kind of situation, and it'll work just fine.
yeah,
But they do recommend you to mix and match different shots.
like for
Uh,
me, my favorite types of weapons are the rebound shot, which if you aimed it the shot in the opposite direction, it goes for a lot of. It goes pretty far, and it has a lot of, and it does pretty decent damage. And my other favorite shot is the charge shot.
Oh, I like the charge shot too. I forgot about the charge shot.
In exchange for not having any rapid fire to speak of, it is the
Mega
best.
Man Memento.
Mega Man Memento. In exchange for not having any rapid fire to speak of, it is the strongest out of the standard shooter weapons, so I like
Pretty
it.
much. Yeah. It is the strongest. So when you charge it, it deals a lot of damage and it'll easily take you to the next phase. Now, another thing I should mention, when you're going up against bosses, it's not exactly easiest to tell how much damage a boss has taken unless you actually take a look at what phase you're in.
Yeah, because the bosses in this game, as
The
good a time
only
as any, uh, they're the main course out of everything you're going to be doing in this game. It's worth mentioning. So if you don't like bosses, then you're probably not going to like this game. But if you are, or if you're up for the challenge, then go for it. These guys will certainly give you one because they have a lot of
Oh,
tells.
they will. Yeah, certainly. They will definitely give you a run for your money if you don't know what to expect. In your first blind run. So be warned that these guys pack quite a punch, and that's not an exaggeration either.
One of
You
them
have to
literally
be
has boxing
extremely
gloves.
careful. Oh yeah, literally, no joke. One of them, yeah, has boxing gloves. Goopy Legrand.
And you also get to fight boxing, toads that do boxing, so that's pretty fun.
Oh
Like,
right, of course. There's three characters with boxing gloves. My bad. Of course.
Punch Out ain't nothing on this, but yeah, each of the bosses has unique tells for everything that they do. Like, say for example, the Goopy Legrand is like a giant blob that bounces around and punches things, but then in the final phase, he turns into a gravestone and then he tries to flatten
Tombstone,
you.
yeah. Oh, that's his third phase, and then you have I forgot the name of the flower.
A
What's his
Cacney Carnation.
Yeah, Cacney Cagnation. Him. Oh boy, his third phase is crazy, and also he's probably the creepiest out of the bunch when he dies.
Yeah,
I'd like to mention that too. His death animation is really creepy looking, and I love it.
yeah.
Um,
It just comes with the time period, but yeah, it's like these guys are hard. Every single one of the bosses are hard. And we haven't even mentioned
absolutely.
like every single type of a boss that you can get into. There are of course the ground stages, but there are of course a few specific flying bosses, and uh, flying bosses are the worst type of boss in this game. They are easily the hardest because flying.
Depends.
It depends on who you're fighting, but I do not like the flying stages too much. The flying controls are typically your standard shmup shooter. You have bullets that you can fire. Your special attacks become missiles, and then if you have a super powerful attack, you turn yourself into a giant missile that does a lot of damage. But good luck. These guys will fire pretty much everything they have of their arsenal at you, even if it's
Oh yeah, and that's they will literally. It's in Cuphead. It's literally like the equivalent of, for as much as I hate to say it, and I don't mean to make any like crude jokes here, but the best way for me to describe it is that's like World War II. It's that insane.
yeah. I
You'd
brought
think it'd be like World War II,
yeah.
which is kind of funny considering where it takes place.
uh but that's pretty much where it stands in terms of the bosses because like yeah, all of them are really difficult, but man, when you get that run where you do everything perfectly, that I don't think there's a feeling as satisfying as that. It is, oh, it's so good.
Especially considering the fact that you have to put in tons of effort trying to get it perfect. Getting perfects aren't easy. You have to do everything. You have to get everything. You have to make sure you get all, like, what, 5 parries or something? 3? I don't remember.
You have to
You have
have
to do
all your health still, and you got to beat them within a certain time limit.
that too. And that's how you get it perfect. You have to do everything in a certain specific time limit. Your health has to be completely full by the time you finish the stage. Not only does it have to be full, but you also have to make sure that you do enough parries and use enough of your supers or whatever. I forget. I think the supers are for the bosses though, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, super stuff
But
for the bosses, yeah. But
yeah,
yeah,
but
whenever you get that run, it's great. And that's what
yeah,
my 24 hours playing Cuphead aren't anything to sneeze at. The bosses are usually like 2 to 3 minutes long, but I got 24 hours out of the game for my Steam run. That
yep.
proves how difficult it is.
It's not a joke. It can be it can be a living hell.
Hey,
It is absolutely ridiculous. It is this game is not it's something you really need to be on your toes with because if you're not on your toes, chances are that you're probably going to die more frequently than either either myself or Burner died in this game.
I mean,
I don't even remember how many times I died in Cuphead, but I died quite a bit.
this is a challenge by the devils, so I
That
guess
is
it's to be
true.
expected.
That is
uh,
true.
but yeah,
Oh,
in terms, let's lighten the mood up a little bit. Let's pay a bit of lip service to this game's aesthetic and how absolutely pretty it looks.
it is. It is. For those who even grew up with that kind of thing, for those who are elders at this point in time, you'll all know what I'm talking about. You'll all know that this is gonna be like a trip down memory lane for people who were born in the 40s.
Yeah, and they
You know,
remember this type of animation, like old Mickey Mouse cartoons or old Looney Tunes cartoons. Like that's essentially what this
exactly.
game encompasses. And it's not only incredibly smooth, but like it's all well drawn. And some minor other things,
It's in,
like the fact that this game uses a CRT filter and there's multiple filters that you can unlock for like black and white or sepia. It's
it's not even
great.
there. There's also you also have what's I'm trying to remember
Or
uh
scratchier audio filters that you can unlock too.
uh trying to remember the name of that filter. There's one specific filter that I unlocked that I don't that that's kind of a bit difficult, but what's it called? Um, it's a very specific filter. It's at the tip of my tongue too. I remember it's Technicolor. That's it. The Technicolor filter. That one's
Yeah,
not easy to get. If I recall, that's the one where you actually have to get like an A or like an A rank on a good chunk of the bosses and like running gun stages.
yeah.
It is no joke. It's a very difficult filter to unlock, but I did it. I managed to get my hands on the two-tone filter, or not two-tone. I mean, Technicolor filter, and it was worth it. It was nice to see. I also did unlock the black and white filter too, but that I couldn't work with the black and white filter, and it's not because of the fact that I didn't like the fact that it was black and white. It's because of the fact that every time I went against the bosses, I couldn't parry anything because it was like all the colors were indistinguishable because it was in monochrome. So I
But
couldn't tell.
yeah, if you're crazy enough to do that, to get an A+ rank in every single boss with the monochrome filter, you're a better person than we are.
Yeah.
That is probably probably the
If you go out of your way to do all the bosses in black and white without color and memorize how every single boss goes without color, without having to see everything and parrying all like the glowing parts, you're a god at
we
this
sal-
game.
we salute you.
You are a literal god, and that is the no joke. You are quite literally a god. You are that good at the game. If you actually memorize how all the bosses work by heart.
Yeah,
So I had to rely at least on Technicolor to beat the bosses. I could do it with at least Technicolor because Technicolor didn't throw me off too much. I could at least make everything out. But with with black and white, no, I can't do that.
yeah.
I
It's
can try, but I can't parry everything. Trying to parry everything is almost impossible. It's not worth it for me.
Yeah, that's fair. But
But
hey, that's you get nicely rewarded for all the hard work that you do in the game, and the fact that Studio MDHR went out of their way to not only make make like these things like available to the player, even if they're nothing more than a novelty at best, like and they really just are not recommended for gameplay, but like the fact that they went out of their way to do that shows that they really cared about the time period, and and this game just really encompasses like the 20s and the 30s, that style of animation, how smooth everything is, how pretty it looks. It's just there's a reason why this game is held as one of the greatest indies in terms of its visuals, and we both agree that this game is great. It looks great. It has a great bopping soundtrack. I love me a
looks
saxophone.
great, sounds great, feels great,
It's
feels nostalgic. It's a trip down memory lane, as I've said before.
it's
It's like you're going into a time machine and visiting the 1920s yourself and seeing what everything was like. And this game like embodies everything about the 1920s. If you want to see what the 1920s was like, this game is it. This is the literal like this game redefines what the 1920s was like. That's
and
how good this game is.
and
And for that, it's incredibly unique and just it has so much charm. It doesn't feel like any other platforming game that I've seen in my life. Just Cuphead is Cuphead. Because of the Rubberhose art style, that's what Cuphead is mostly recognized for. The fact that it went out of its way to try to do something completely new that no other 2D platforming shmup has ever bothered to try and do before. It broke the mold. It tried to be something new.
mhm.
It's just and it's incomprehensible as to how far this game managed to come within the time span of no, actually I think it's over a decade old now that I think about it.
And in
So
terms of its dev, yeah, but it not only had an incredible sales and reviews, it got a costume in Smash Brothers, and there's even DLC coming out for the game pretty soon.
well, we don't know yet.
We
They
don't,
said they revealed it back in like 2018, 2019-ish, but we haven't heard much from the delicious last course since then. All
but
we know is that it's coming, but we don't know how soon, you know, it's coming. All we know is that it's coming soon. We just don't know how soon is. But
yeah,
let's just say when it's done and leave it at that.
yeah. But when it
Other
does
than
come
that,
out, that's
oh yeah,
we're excited. We're happy to see this little guy go incredible places, and we're super proud of the guys at Studio MDHR for taking an idea that was so ambitious and running with it. And I'm happy that they went as far as they did. If not for the fact that we got Floor Fury and Smash Brothers, so I
yeah,
consider that an A+.
pretty much. But yeah, with that being said, I think that's just about everything that we have to say about Cuphead. And just about everything we said is pretty much positive. I can't think of a bad thing to say about Cuphead. In all honesty, uh, there aren't any issues in my opinion that I have with Cuphead. Not even the flying stages, or not even the plane stages. I don't have a single problem with those either. I love Cuphead for what it is, what it tries to be.
Yeah.
It's it's absolutely insane, and it's done. Cuphead was the very reason why I was inspired to do Rubber Hose in the first place as well, because I've tried to experiment with Rubber Hose before, and if it wasn't for Cuphead, I wouldn't have tried to do Rubber Hose at all. So yeah. Anyways, with that being said, that's Cuphead. Cuphead is a fantastic game. I highly advise that you play it. It's
Can't wait for Delicious Last Course. Studio MDHR, please take your time with it. It's gonna turn out great.
yeah.
Fun
But
stuff.
yeah. But anyways, we'll see you next time. Until then, see ya.
We bid you adieu.